Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Backlot Banter, your favorite box office prediction show on the entire internet. I am, of course, Tanner Dexter, joined as always by my fellow box office enthusiast and good friend Tucker Hazel.
Yep.
Today, Tucker, what are we doing? What else is there to do at the beginning of every new year
To
than to talk about
prognosticate, Tanner.
to prognosticate, of course, to talk about what are the biggest, best, and even the worst and stinkiest movies coming out in the year
Ooh.
to come. Make our 2025 box
Yeah.
office predictions, of course, and for you, dear viewer, to educate you, to let you in to our collective mind palace
Yes.
of movies coming out this year. Do a little 2025 movie preview, the year
Mm-hmm.
to come, what to look forward to, and what maybe not to look forward to.
Yeah.
We'll get into all of that, of course.
And this video is broken down into two segments. Number one, we're going to start off with each of us predicting our top 10 highest grossing domestic movies of 2025. We're going to be giving them 10 to 1. We're going to swap back and forth. You guys are going to see
Yes.
all our predictions, but it's fine. We want to get these movies into your head. And then we're
Mm,
going to go studio by studio and tell you everything that they're currently on their schedule for release in 2025
yes.
in the theatrical marketplace. Of course, some of these teams and studios put out streaming movies as well. We're a box office show, so we're not particularly concerned with those. But we're gonna
That's right.
go Universal, Warner Brothers, Paramount, Disney down the list, and
The
give you
biggies.
and some others.
Yeah, did he get late 24?
Yeah, Lionsgate is
Whatever.
not a
Yeah,
biggie.
yeah,
But
yeah.
we're gonna break it down studio by studio, so you really get a sense of what each studio is bringing to the theatrical
Yes.
marketplace in
What are they
2025.
serving up on a silver platter for
Yeah,
us in the next 365 days ish? And
and
we should
Tanner,
say that, yeah,
we
yeah.
have a veritable buffet. I'm sorry, I just
Oh,
wanted to say
yes. That's
that.
good. That's good. It's plenty of silver platters being brought out to us. But before we get into all of that, of course, we got to do ask you to do the YouTube things. Go ahead, subscribe to Backlot Banter. Go ahead and like this video. Comment down below what you think your top 10 is
Yeah.
going to be
Mm-hmm.
for the 2025 box office year. And also join our Discord server. We'd be happy to elaborate on our thoughts further
Sure.
outside of this video. The link to join that server down in the description. It's not just movies, of course. There's video games, there's comic, there's food, there's music, there's working
Yeah.
out.
We really
I
represent
don't know.
culture as a
That's
whole,
right.
frankly.
That's right.
Humanity and culture.
Books, written text,
Hmm.
everything's in there.
I can't say I've ever been in that one.
That's fair. You know what? That's fair. Okay, Tucker. Do you mind if I start
Fine.
on
Yeah.
my predictions? We're gonna volley back and forth here. We're gonna
Yeah.
do a classic 10-1 here.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead. We'll swap over to my predictions here, which you can see in their entirety. But
Yes.
right now, Tucker, I just want to start with my number 10, which is, of course, Antoine Fuqua's Michael. This
Yeah.
is a Michael Jackson biopic that is dated for October 2025. I prognosticate it's going to be the 10th highest grossing film of the year domestically, of course. With a domestic total, I'm going to toss out there just a softball number of, I don't know, $250 million,
Jesus Christ.
which, yeah, exactly. So I think that
You've
this
got
one
high hopes,
really
man.
I think this one really has the makings of the next Bohemian Rhapsody. Okay,
Sure.
people have been invoking this with things like like a Complete Unknown, or other recent music biopics that have not been hitting the palate exactly like that one
Yeah.
Bohemian Rhapsody did back in 2018, which is obviously like the shining monument on the hill for these studio heads greenlighting music
Absolutely.
biopics.
They're
Make
still putting this like when they're looking at the pitch for these movies, they're like, "Well, we're gonna make the next Bohemian Rhapsody, and we're gonna make a
Yes,
billion
Bohemian
dollars,"
Rhapsody.
and it
I
never
do want to pull it
happens.
up. Bohemian Rhapsody made, I just want to total it up here. At the domestic box office, it made $216 million
Mm,
in 2018, nearly $1 billion worldwide.
yeah.
And I'm going to
So
say we're
adjusted
getting
for inflation, this is about the same, I would
about the
say.
same, is kind of what I aim
Okay.
for.
Wow.
I
Hmm.
think that Michael Jackson is a totemic figure comparable to that of Queen and Freddie
Yeah.
Mercury in terms of pop culture and music iconography.
Sure.
And I think there's an added interest factor of course, Michael Jackson's nephew being the one portraying him in this movie. Anton Fuqua is a trusted studio hand. He can
Mm-hmm.
make a compelling film. I think he's going to do that here in Michael. What it really comes down to is what the structure of the film is. If we are going for something a little bit more straight and narrow down the road, and like Bohemian Rhapsody did, really focusing on recreating these iconic musical
Sure.
moments from
Yeah.
Michael's career, I
Oh,
think this is going to be a huge hit.
you think we'll see the thing with the zombies, like that music video?
Tucker. That's
I'm fucking
exactly
with
what
you.
I'm
Of
hoping
course we're
for.
going to.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a big second act moment right there.
If as long I'm
Before he
talking like a
starts like getting
studio head
addicted to
here.
drugs and diddling kids or whatever, and that's gonna be the third act.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That might weigh heavily on the reputation of the film. I'm sure that'll be a whole discourse come this fall.
Yeah,
Um, but as long as, and I'm talking like a studio head here, as long as Anton Fuqua doesn't get this, doesn't get bitten by the auteurist bug
sure.
here, and this isn't something a little bit more alienating,
Yeah,
I think this could be a really big draw for general
sure.
audiences.
Yeah, I respect this as a top 10 pick. I think that Bohemian Rhapsody is such an outlier in the
Yeah,
genre that
it
it
is.
seems very difficult in my mind to recapture that because we've seen no evidence that that even is close to happening. The second biggest music biopic since Bohemian Rhapsody, I would say, is Elvis, and Elvis
Yeah.
was a decently high grossing movie, nowhere near what Bohemian Rhapsody did, and I think that Michael will fit in that Elvis
Okay.
space in terms of how much money it makes, which is still very good. I don't imagine the budget on this movie is massive, but I don't see this in the same
Yeah.
vein as some of the movies. Well, there's I think two movies that you and I have different on our
Okay.
list, and I'm a little bit shocked that no wait, there's
I
three.
think I know Tucker, I know what you're gonna say, and we'll get to that. We'll get to
Yeah,
that when it comes down to the line. But
yeah,
yeah, I don't know. I think Elvis. I mean, Michael Jackson's obviously a more evergreen cultural figure than Elvis is. I think.
yeah.
And Elvis also came out in like summer 2022 when theaters were getting back on their feet a little
Mm-hmm.
bit. So I think. October is an interesting release slot for this. I'll be interested to see how that works out. I think they're
Yeah.
trying to find a sweet spot for like general audience
I'm gonna be
appeal and
honest. I would not be
awards appeal.
surprised if somehow it got moved to a November or December, and they
Yeah,
really do
sure,
position
sure.
it as a holiday tentpole blockbuster movie. I think that
Yep.
that could certainly raise my expectations of it in terms of how much money it could make. But October's a really weird
Yeah.
spot. Not a lot
Yep.
of top grossing movies come out in October.
That's true. That's
But
true. Granted.
yes,
Granted.
my
Um,
number 10
number 10.
for me is going to be Captain America: Brave New World. Now I have this
Hmm.
in the bottom of the top 10 because most often Marvel movies do crack into that top 10 highest grossing
Yeah.
movies of the year. I don't have Thunderbolts on here specifically because
Oh,
I don't think
okay.
anyone gives a single fuck. And I don't think it's going to bring in a lot of audience. And I think that Brave New World will barely squeak in to this top 10.
Okay.
I think that the only real draw here is Harrison Ford because I don't think people care about Anthony Mackie as Captain America, and I also don't think that this is going to be a very good movie. It had a really troubled development cycle.
Yes.
Marvel
Yes.
is in a really rocky place as of the last 2 years. The only shining example was Deadpool, and that's really its own thing. That and Guardians being like examples of like these kind of exist outside of the traditional Marvel bubble, and this is very much in the traditional Marvel bubble. And it's like a fourth entry in a series, and there's a Red Hulk and it's CGI battles, and like this is like I don't know. I don't have a ton of faith in this, but
Mhm.
this is me saving myself from complete embarrassment unless it like because this could easily be a little bit higher, but I'm like
Yeah.
I gotta have it in there because it's a safer pick, but it's at the bottom because I'm not even confident it'll break in here.
Okay.
I think the market has
So
shifted enough to where we're not going to get a ton of Marvel movies in the top
okay.
10. Well, maybe in the
So
future when we're getting X-Men and fucking Avengers movies again, but and
yes.
Spider-Man, but
I'll also talk about its placement on my list, since we're on the topic right now. I have it at number 8
yeah.
on my
Just
list.
above
I
Thunderbolts. Why don't you talk about those two movies kind of in
Okay,
tandem because
sounds
I
good.
don't have Thunderbolts on my list.
Fair, fair. Okay, so Thunderbolts, I have Captain America and Thunderbolts at very similar domestic totals. I have Thunderbolts at number 9 with $275 million, and I have Captain
God.
America: Brave New World at number 8, with about $300 million. I'm
Hmm.
gonna say. Um, and I was really having a tough time with these for
Yeah,
all the reasons that you were talking about,
absolutely.
Tucker. I mean, honestly, I couldn't tell you. I didn't look at this, but a thought that immediately popped into my head as you were talking was, when was the last time a Marvel movie wasn't in the top 10 domestic
Well, I
grossing
mean,
films
definitely the
of a year?
Marvels.
Oh yeah, the Marvels. Yeah, yeah.
Definitely the
That's
Marvels.
good. That's a good point. That's a good point actually. So, but like, is Captain America: Brave New World really the Marvel situation? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know if Marvel has sort of learned from their mistakes, if they're trying to course correct a little bit here with marketing. I mean, the marketing has been strong for Captain America: Brave New World. I think they are really pulling out all the stops to make sure this is like the first big blockbuster hit of the year.
yeah,
And I think that'll also draw some attention to it from folks making it, that first big blockbuster. This comes out in about a month on Valentine's
hmm,
Day. So yeah, but at the same time, I don't have a whole lot of confidence. The quality control issues that you've been talking
yeah,
that you mentioned really give me pause. But the Harrison Ford like movie star idea, the movie star factor of it, uh, Anthony Mackie as a presence in Marvel movies is a lot more cemented in the minds of like even general MCU fans than the
sure,
presence of like Kamala Khan
yeah,
or Monica
yeah,
Rambeau
totally.
was
That's
in the
definitely true.
Marvels. So I don't know. Like I said, having a tough time with these. I think Captain America will and Thunderbolts will both eke in there just
Sure,
by that Marvel brand appeal alone,
yeah,
bringing in lots of familiar faces that MCU fans do like. I mean, Thunderbolts,
yeah,
for to talk about that briefly, like Florence Pugh in there. Black Widow was liked, kind of well liked when it came out in 2020, if forgotten. But I think people still like Florence Pugh and will like, heartily remember her as like, oh yeah, she's in the MCU, ain't she?
yeah,
And Sebastian Stan, for that matter, he's really
sure,
trying to sort of catapult his star power as an MCU leading man at this point with Thunderbolts as well. So I have both these, like I said, at 9 and 8. Um, Tentatively,
yeah,
Michael was sort of my moonshot. Thunderbolts and Captain America are like my. These things are blockbusters by the letter, but
yeah.
will they get it done?
Sure. Yeah, and that's totally fair. I was just looking at the top 10 highest grossing movies of the last few years. The Marvels is the only one, you're right, that
Yeah,
hasn't made it into that top 10. I do feel like this year is much more competitive, which I think is also part of
of
what
course.
drives me to think, like, when we talk about there being four MCU movies in the top 10 for 2021, Black Widow, Eternal, Shang-Chi, and No Way Home all made it in 2022, Wakanda Forever, Multiverse of Madness, and Thor: Love and Thunder all made it in. And then in 2023, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and even Quantumania made
Hmm.
into the top 10 there. And Quantumania obviously something that's kind of like a notorious failure, and then the Marvels even more so. But you're right, there's a very good track record. But each of these years, especially 2021, is like, well, there wasn't really anything else that people cared about, and I think you can make
Yeah.
that argument for last year as well. I mean, I well no, last year's different because they only put out one movie, but like I'm just thinking that the stock in other things outside of Marvel has risen as stock in Marvel has fallen over the course of the last few years, and so
Hmm.
we'll really have to see. I think that's going to be one of the more interesting things to track this year.
Yes. Yes, I
Um,
think so too.
but my
Though
number
we
nine,
yeah,
oh,
go for it. Go for it.
my number nine is F1 because
Okay.
F1 is the next movie from Joseph Kosinski, who made Top Gun Maverick
Yes.
and just absolutely cooked everyone's socks. He burned them to a crisp.
That's true.
Um, and they were off first, so like people's feet weren't getting burned,
Oh,
but
good. Phew, phew.
he knocked their socks off and then incinerated them. Um,
Yeah.
and that was the highest grossing movie of 2022. And this is his first movie back since then. And I think his skills combined with Brad Pitt, combined with his getting like a full IMAX release, like this is going to be like the big thing
Hmm.
as it's coming out. Um, I think this is going to be something that really, really catches on. And so I'm putting it in here at the lower end because I don't think it's going to be the next Top Gun Maverick specifically.
Yep.
But I think that confluence of factors, it's really going to be pushed now that Joseph Kosinski is a household name, quote unquote. I mean, he's not very loosely, but like
Yeah.
the studio knows him as a commodity whose skills people really appreciate, obviously
Hmm.
financially
Yeah.
and
Okay. I'll
critically.
buy that.
So I think this is going to be a not the same success as Top Gun Maverick, but F1 racing movie action. Brad Pitt from the director of one of the best movies of the last few years, one of the
Yeah.
biggest movies of the last few years. I think this is really going to be pushed super super hard.
Okay. So Tucker, I don't have this. I have omitted this from my top 10
Yeah,
for a number of reasons. Number one, Tucker, this is an Apple movie.
yeah,
This is an Apple movie. That's being distributed by Warner Brothers.
Sure.
Worth noting. Um, Apple did not have a good track record. This you could make the argument that this will be like a make or break moment for them. This is easily their most expensive movie to date. The production history on this isn't exactly troubled in the same way that like Captain America: Brave New World was,
Yeah.
or we're doing reshoots and everything. But it's expensive because they were aligning it with the F1
Yeah,
racing
definitely.
season. We're having to start and stop production a lot. So
Ah, sure.
this could be a big red mark on the Apple movies ledger if it is a failure.
Hmm.
So but again, I just don't trust their abilities to like roll
That's
out a
very
movie
fair.
like this.
Yeah.
I also think that,
You think
this
if
is
this was
coming out.
Paramount or Warner Brothers, you would think it'd be a top 10 movie? If
Um,
they, like basically the same premise and like same
mhm.
product, but like a different production studio behind it.
It would certainly help things, but I have some other knocks against it here.
Sure.
This film is dated for release on June 27th of this year,
Yeah.
which is I forget how many days are in June, but just, I mean, less than a week before Jurassic World Rebirth
Sure.
comes
Yeah,
out.
that's a good point.
Uh, it's going to, you mentioned this IMAX window. It's going to have this IMAX window for
Oh,
5 days.
that's no, that's fair.
Uh,
That's fair. I
yeah,
guess I was forgetting
which
about how quick of a turnaround
fr
that was.
yeah, which frankly reminds me of a situation with Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning
Yeah.
Part
Yeah.
1, where it had a very short IMAX
Yeah.
window and then was just eaten alive by Barbenheimer. I don't know. And the Brad Pitt factor, Brad Pitt is obviously a very, very famous individual. I'm not
Yeah.
going to, deny this. But is he Tom Cruise? Is he Tom Cruise
Yeah.
in Tom Cruise coming back to Top Gun, one of his most iconic roles after
Sure.
30 odd years?
Yeah, that's a
I
good
just
point.
don't think so.
Yeah. And then actually, just to get us back on track, my number
Yes,
eight is
go
Mission
for it.
Impossible: The Final Reckoning. I think that this is going to be a massive make good on what
Okay.
where the Dead Reckoning did not blow up.
Yes.
They have cleared a space for it. They're not fucking up on the release timing, and I think the trailers look even more impressive. I think that the stunts look more impressive. This is kind of like a culminating thing. I really think this is going to be something that they push incredibly, incredibly hard, and it won't have things as hard stepping on its toes this time.
Hmm.
And honestly, I do think that if it had the space in 2022, yeah, or no,
Hmm.
23 for sorry
23, 23.
23 for Dead Reckoning, I think it would have been one of the top 10 highest grossing movies
Mm.
of the year. And so I actually think this is a reasonably safe one, given that it's not being like its lunch isn't getting eaten the next week.
Okay, Tucker. This actually segues very nicely into my number 7,
Yeah.
which is the live. I have to hold back a gag, lest I vomit all over my microphone and laptop. Which is my number 7 is the live action remake of Lilo and Stitch,
Yeah.
which comes out the same day
That's
as
true.
Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning.
Yeah.
And I was burned by my prediction for Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1,
Hmm.
which ended up not cracking the top 10 of 2023. It ended up being a severe miscalculation on the part of Paramount and their release strategy. And I don't know, Tucker, I hope you're right. This is what I will say. I hope you're right in all things. But what I am looking at is Lilo and Stitch, a Disney live action remake that, even if they do not open to the biggest thing in the world,
Yeah.
can leg out very consistently with
Sure.
family audiences. Lilo and Stitch is sort of, I think that film came out in 2001,
Hmm.
which is like prime nostalgia time for like new parents this time
Sure.
around. And even even like people, Stitch is one of these new, or newer, I should say. He's 20 odd years old at this point.
Yeah.
The movie is
It's looking
too.
great for
Oh,
that age.
he's looking great too. Um, is one of these like Disney characters in the 21st century that has a large fan base around him. So I just think this thing is going to be a lot bigger than many people are anticipating. I think this is one of the most underestimated films in terms of box office results that is being
Yeah.
released this year. I
Yeah.
just see something. something very big in the cards for Lilo and Stitch. Not just because like everyone remembers like, oh yeah, it's like a nice little hangout movie, like they're getting up to shenanigans, on the beach and whatnot. But people also forget that Lilo and Stitch in like the back half of the movie turns into like a sci-fi action chase movie
Hmm.
with alien spaceships and laser guns and all these things and
Yeah.
explosions and volcanoes and everything. I'm like, okay, I think this thing has the bombast to also be somewhat of a family-oriented blockbuster.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of my thinking when it comes to Lilo and Stitch.
Here's the thing, because you'll
Okay.
notice on my predictions, I have
Yes.
no Disney live action remakes, and there are two major ones releasing this year.
True.
Neither of us
True.
have Snow White on here, and I don't have
Yeah.
Lilo and Stitch on mine. And that is honestly because I think the juice is gone from that can. I mean, the
Okay.
last time a Disney live action remake was in the top 10 highest grossing movies of the year was 2019.
Yeah.
We had well there's obviously some that were straight to Disney Plus. You don't really count that,
Hmm.
but Mufasa the Lion King may squeak into the top 10 if it legs out. Like we're still waiting on final results for that,
Right.
which
Right.
is
Right.
also why we're not talking about our predictions from last year. We're waiting just like till the end
Exactly.
of January or mid February or something for that one. That's a maybe, but it's certainly obviously not to like the like this is a lock for the top 10. Um,
Yeah. I get you.
Little Mermaid didn't get in there. Mulan doesn't count. But like Lion King was really like the last actually big one. And so I just think that this is an interesting attempt from them. But I think that especially because Little Mermaid didn't work, Little Stitch isn't bigger than Little Mermaid. You kidding me?
I think with this
And
talking
Little
with a
Stitch is
certain
not better, bigger than fucking Snow White.
I think with a certain generation, there's an appeal to Lilo and Stitch that is not necessarily there for Snow White
Sure.
or okay. And here's what I'm also gonna say. We're Tucker. I'm sorry to do it, but I'm gonna dip a toe into the culture
Yeah,
war
yeah. No,
here.
that's fair enough.
Tucker, there's I think, as amplified by recent events in American culture, there's a latent sort of reactionary nature or conservatism to the American public.
Yeah.
And what I will say is, when I went to go see Moana 2 a few months ago, I was sitting beside some who I don't know, affectionately call Disney
Sure.
adults. And this is, I mean, Moana 2 was when they had all the trailers for all their upcoming movies.
Yeah.
Even, there was even a short teaser for Lilo and Stitch. I should
Correct.
specify.
Yeah. There's not a full trailer for
And the
that movie, I don't think.
no, the trailer came on for Snow White, and the trailer came on for Lilo and Stitch. The reactions from the Disney adults sitting next to me were, for Snow White, ugh, this looks awful. I can't believe it.
Hmm.
And for Lilo and Stitch, it was, oh man, I'm so excited for this. Those
Sure.
are almost word for word the
Yeah, yeah,
reactions
I
that
believe
came
that.
out from the mouths beside me. Lest I say it, Tucker, there is a super strange reaction to the Rachel Zegler in her role as Snow White
Yeah.
that I think will hurt the box office results of that
Sure.
film, and also there was a unfortunate but very real backlash to the role of Halle Bailey in The Little
Yeah,
Mermaid.
that sounds sure. Yeah.
Um, I just think that these things hurt these movies. Unfortunately, I think it sucks that people have these reactions to them, and I don't think they're going to be there for Lilo and Stitch.
You don't think same reactions? Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
Yeah,
and you know what? That's totally
there's just
fair.
yeah, there is a weird line that I cannot wrap my head around being drawn by these, I'll say it, dumb people being like, "Oh, Lilo and Stitch looks great. I can't believe they're remaking that one. I'm so excited for it." Yeah. And to that end, Tucker, taking a look at your predictions, I'll volley it back to you. I just think that there's too many cool movies on your top 10, man. The box
Yeah,
office
no,
doesn't
it's
shake out that way to be too many. There's not that many cool movies in
Tanner.
there.
That is an excellent point, and I will say that I don't know. I feel like I'm being safe in the opposite direction now.
Okay, I get you.
As I see the waning stock both in the Disney live action remakes and in
Hmm.
Marvel
Hmm.
movies being very conservative with how high are those actually going to go. It really hasn't been since 2021 or 2019 when both of these were at their peak. In terms of making a ton of money at the box office,
Yep.
and so I'm pulling back a little bit from that and trying to future project a little bit because
Okay.
tides do change.
I can appreciate that.
But for my number, so no, I guess no. You talked about Stitch. Okay, so I'm gonna throw
I
back.
talked about Stitch at my 7, so go back to your 7.
My 7 is Fantastic Four: The First Steps.
Yes.
I think this is easily going to be the biggest Marvel movie of the year. You agree with me? It's the highest. You have any of them as
That's
well?
my number 6.
This is going to be a big summer blockbuster. It's in a competitive season, but this is. I think this fits into the similar vein of what I said earlier about both Guardians and Deadpool, where they exist sort of outside of the quote unquote Marvel malaise that many recent films sort of fall into, where
Mhm.
it's different enough character wise and from what we know, probably be a little bit different aesthetically to where people will just see this as like the next big blockbuster and not like, oh god, another entry in phase fucking 17, you know.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think this is going to be pretty big, but I also think that there's just going to be a lot of other bigger stuff around it. This is a crowded season like 2023 was. And so I think that's going to hold it back a little bit from reaching the top heights, but I think it'll still be the biggest Marvel movie of the year.
Yeah, Tucker, I am right there with you. Like I said, it is my number 6,
Great.
and we should just because you have Superman up next.
Yeah.
Both of these films come out in July of this year, and July of this year is shaping up to be an absolute bloodbath.
Yeah.
It's either going to be a bloodbath or like a hand holding, we are the
Yeah,
world, we
yeah.
are the future, like everyone is making money at the same time. The future of the box office does exist and it is strong.
Yeah.
It's going to be one of those two scenarios based on like how many huge movies are coming out in this
Yeah.
season.
Mhm.
I think I talked about it with you recently that it is July 2nd, Jurassic World Rebirth, 1 week off, Superman on July 11th,
Mhm.
1 week off, and then Fantastic Four on July 25th, and then then we're into August. And Disney is obviously trying to replicate the run-on success of Deadpool and Wolverine, releasing at the end of July and really having its legs out into August. But I think Warner Brothers is also trying to gamble on Superman doing a similar thing,
Hmm.
a couple weeks beforehand. But like,
Yeah.
it's really a matter of can these movies coexist? And I think everything you said about the movie itself is totally accurate.
Yeah.
I think it will separate itself from the general like MCU, the universe, the characters that people are used to. This is
Yeah.
a very famous team that people have familiarity with it in cinematic form before. That familiarity is quite poor,
Yeah.
which I think may hurt it in the long run.
Potentially, yeah, but
Um,
I also think
but
that there's
I think
no
that
shot that this is anything worse than the best Fantastic Four adaptation you've ever seen.
exactly. I think there may be a slight bit of hesitance for general audiences being like, I've seen 3 bad Fantastic Four
Yeah.
movies. But also those were like, 10 years ago at this
Yeah.
point, at the very latest. So
I think also
I
another thing
think
that's
there's a.
really going to help this is that
Mhm.
there's as far as we know, there seems to be like no MCU baggage for this. This
True,
isn't
true.
like there's no Disney Plus shows leading into this. There's no storylines you need to be familiar with. This isn't
Right.
holding over. I mean, there's probably some tie into Thanos
There will
snap
be
stuff,
tie-ins, of course, but
but
I think the marketing will be really pitching this as like, here's this new team, all portrayed by actors that you
yeah, yeah,
like,
totally.
and I think that's really what they're aiming at here. So I think this will be the most exciting prospect for general audiences for the Marvel
I definitely
offerings
agree.
this year.
Yep.
So,
And
oh
then I have at my number 5 or no 6, sorry,
yes,
because you just talked about your 6, which was Fantastic Four First Steps,
right.
which by the way, I'm just gonna call it Fantastic Four. I keep forgetting that it has a subtitle because
They should just drop it.
no one's referring to it with the subtitle.
Yeah.
Like honestly,
The issue is that there are now two. There's already 2 movies called Fantastic
yeah.
Four. Even though we call one Fantastic,
Correct.
but most people don't.
Yeah.
I would quickly do before we move on. I've neglected to say my numbers.
Yeah.
I'd say Captain America: Lilo and Stitch. I'm gonna say makes $325 million domestically.
I think you're
Crazy, I
smoking
know.
crack, dude.
Crazy, I know. Tucker, I hope you're right. Tucker, I hope you're right. Fantastic Four: First Steps is gonna make $350 million
Okay.
worldwide.
Are you
domestic
just
box
largely
office.
going up by like 25s or something like that?
There'll be jumps. There'll be
Okay.
jumps.
And then for back to my number 6, which is Superman, and I have confidence that this is the breath of fresh air that the superhero genre has wanted for a while, and
Mhm.
being a total reboot, leaving behind the baggage again, though it does have some sort of James Gunny baggage where there's a bunch of like fucking nonsense characters in the background, but we have seen that, especially in terms of critical reception, people he seems to really be able to introduce people to characters. So even if it's Superman and his fucking wacky goons in the background, you're fighting. There's obviously Lex Luthor, but isn't there like another like fucking like
Uh,
monstrous villain in this movie? It's not Starro, but it's like
it's well,
they're
yeah.
fighting some sort of
There's the
beast.
big there's some sort of giant eye in the sky that's shooting a laser, and then there's like maybe an Ultraman sort of
Yeah,
figure, like a
yeah.
Superman clone. A lot of this is still unclear.
Yeah, but I think that this is going to be marketed shit and back. I think they've already done a really good job
Oh,
with it.
dude.
People are going to be people are really be talking about this as like the next step forward for DC in the way that the Batman was a few years ago. I think
Hmm.
this is going to easily fall in those shoes. I trust James Gunn's creativity. I think he knows how important this is going to be. And even if, and I will stipulate this, even if James Gunn's DCU quickly falters after the release of Superman, I'm having a tough time future projecting a lot of these DCU movies being massive. I think that Superman will actually, much like Man of Steel was, be maybe the both the critical and financial high point of the DCU, where I just think like it's a fresh start, everyone's going to be excited for it. Superman is the most famous character that they've got, and like it's a long time for a fresh look at that character. So
Hmm.
I have big confidence in this one.
Okay. Tucker, should I talk about Superman? Because
No, move to your number
it weighs
five.
up.
Yeah, move to your number
Oh,
five.
okay. Okay. We'll do my number five, which is Jurassic World Rebirth.
Yeah. Oh, that's my number five
Um.
as well.
Okay. Perfect. I don't have a whole lot interesting to say about this, other than I don't know. Look at the receipts of the other Jurassic World movies.
Tanner, that is
Um.
all we have to go on right now.
Exactly. It is purely just because I don't know. People like these dinosaur movies, and
Yeah.
hey, I think I like dinosaurs too. I think most of these movies are big old stinkers that have come out
Yeah.
in the Jurassic World lineage. But Scarlett Johansson is a movie star, and people see
Yeah.
her in a
She was a
franchise
movie
that
star.
people see her in a franchise that they like, and they're like, I like Scarlett Johansson. She's going to be fighting dinosaurs in
Yeah.
this movie. I'm back on board. I don't think this is going to be like a Fly Me to the Moon situation where people are just totally unawares of this movie.
Yeah.
This movie's going to get a marketing push outside of, hey, it's Scarlett Johansson. It's going to be, hey, it's Scarlett Johansson and some other people
Yeah, of
and
course.
those giant
Of course.
dinosaurs.
Yeah, yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. So
Tanner,
I
I
think
think it's
that'll
going to be the other
all.
way around, to be completely honest.
Oh,
They're going to be like,
that's a fair point.
there's going to be dinosaurs.
I,
Oh, and also just Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, I think it's all a snowball though. It's all gonna wrap up to be something pretty big, I
Yeah.
think. So
He,
what do I
he,
have Jurassic World at? $390 million
this
domestically.
is a safe middle prediction because
Yeah,
it's going to be in this top 10 somewhere. There's no way that it's not because all three of the previous movies made $1 billion at the box
right.
office. And so like even if this is only at 800 million or something worldwide, it's still going to be in this conversation.
Even Dominion, which was like ridiculed
Yeah,
and even derided by like general audiences, scraped past $1 billion
which is fucking
inexplicably.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Um
people didn't like that movie and it made $1 billion.
yeah, so honestly I think there's a chance that we might be underselling this, though I will
Yeah,
say we talk about Dominion being ridiculed, but I think that there's a chance that this is not necessarily worse. I think Gareth Edwards is a more interesting director.
yeah,
Um, but they just like came up with the idea for this movie like last year. They rushed
yes.
this thing through production faster
This
than
was
you
a
can say fucking Archaeopteryx, you know?
So yeah, Stegosaurus.
Yeah.
This is a very quick and fast moving production.
Which
I don't know if
worries
that'll
me.
result. Yeah, I don't know if that will result in a sloppy film, or if Garrett, or if everyone was able to keep a lid on this thing. I think it's yet to be seen. We've only gotten like production stills up till this point.
Yeah. Though I
But I
will say
presume it.
what we have
Yeah,
heard script wise and concept wise, it does seem to be more
yeah, it seems
horror
fairly
focused, a little
interesting.
bit
Yep.
smaller scale rather than the like global thing that Dominion was. So I think
Hmm.
that tonally and aesthetically may help balance out the fact that this was a little bit quicker if it is a little bit
Yeah.
smaller scale. But also the Jurassic World movies, regardless of the fact that I think Fallen Kingdom and Dominion are fucking stupid ass movies, they have some of the best CGI in the business, and so
Of course.
if the CGI is a step down here because they're crunching this shit hard, that could
Mhm.
also be a pretty big knock against it.
Yeah, though I don't know. I don't know if poor CGI is something that like usually turns away general audience
No, that's fair
members.
enough.
I think, yeah, I don't think that your general moviegoer has like an eye for that kind of thing
Yeah.
necessarily. Who are we on? Me or you? Back to you. Oh, actually, we both did it. We both have it at number five.
Yeah.
So Tucker, talk to me about this Minecraft movie.
Tanner,
What is
you
this?
are going to fucking regret this so hard. This is going to
Oh, I
be me
know,
not
I
putting Barbie
know.
in my top 10 of
Yeah, I
2023.
know.
A Minecraft movie is going to be one of the biggest movies of the year. How big, I do not know. But not having it in your top 5, let alone your top 10, I think is going to be the biggest box office prognosticating mistake that Tanner Dexter will ever make in his career, because he will
I
learn
don't
from
know.
this so fucking hard
Okay,
immediately. Immediately. Minecraft
okay.
is the dominant video game IP of the century. And it may continue to be so for the fucking rest
Hmm.
of the century.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Minecraft is the biggest thing. It is the most recognizable modern video game IP ever. It's literally the best-selling video game of all time. And not that necessarily Jason Momoa and Jack Black are like the biggest stars you could put in this, but I think that the goofiness and the tone of Jack Black and all of this, it does not matter. This is going to be a curiosity for people that are like,
Hmm.
what the fuck? But also, what really matters is the hundreds of thousands to millions and millions of children that log on to Minecraft every day on every
Uh-huh.
platform ever designed by human beings are going to be getting this before it's going to be a fucking splash screen before fucking Mojang logo comes up, and they're
Yeah,
going to
yeah, yeah,
start
yeah.
playing. They're going to hop into their fucking little creepy RP server, and it's going to be the fucking banner is going to be replaced with "See a Minecraft movie in theaters" fucking April 10th or whatever. Like,
Uh-huh.
this is going to be marketed in places that we will not necessarily see since we're not consistent
Hmm.
Minecraft players, but they will market this to shit and back, and it will absolutely be one of the highest grossing movies of the year.
Okay, so Tucker, you're making me regret this, and this is the one I
Good.
was like, I was gnawing my fingers off, being like, and this is my thing. I'll say this: where is the pulse for this movie? Is
Sure.
what I'm wondering. This movie comes out in less than 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
The reactions to it have been overwhelmingly negative
Mm-hmm.
in all of its marketing materials.
Yeah.
I don't think this has the like lovability of I mean, obviously what they're aiming for here, even with the exact same release
Yeah.
slot,
Yeah.
is a Super Mario Bros. Movie
Totally.
sort of turnout. And I don't think this has like the lovability of like we're just translating it into cinematic form with just a
Sure.
straight up animated movie. I think they're coloring this in with a lot of like, whoa, we're being sucked into
Yeah.
Minecraft
Yeah.
kind of stuff. That I don't think that, Minecraft fans are going to connect with.
Sure.
I think it alienates them a little bit, as opposed to if they just straight up did, I don't know, the main character is Steve, it's animated, he's doing the Minecraft thing, there's dragons, there's creepers, there's zombies.
Yeah.
That's all going to be in here, but it's going to be colored in with some things that are not, core to the Minecraft
Yeah.
identity.
That's
And
definitely true.
this is maybe just all me huffing some copium to be like, oh, I don't have it on my predictions, but I don't know. There was just something about it where I'm like, there's like the conversation surrounding it is entirely negative. So this is my like. I hope this is my hope diction
Sure.
that maybe this film
Totally
doesn't
fair.
crack the top 10.
Yeah.
Maybe that's as far as it goes. But you're also exactly right, Tucker, that it is a huge video game IP.
Yeah.
And of course, it makes sense to translate this into a box office success.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I have to maybe predict some flops here and there.
Sure.
And I don't know.
Y-
I'm feeling this one might be it just based on like the negative conversation surrounding it and the lack of general pulse for the movie
Yeah.
coming out in just a few months.
Yeah. I think that's totally fair, though. I do have to say the Pulse thing. 3 months is totally enough time to start a fucking
I
marketing
know.
campaign. We're
Yes,
gonna
I
get
know.
another
Yeah.
trailer, probably next month. And then
Hmm.
there's gonna be a third one. They're gonna start really fucking putting on billboards and stuff. This Steam has not hit for Minecraft
Okay,
yet,
that's fair.
and I understand the negative reaction because I agree with that. I've seen it as well,
Hmm.
but I don't think it matters. I honestly don't think it
I
matters.
know what you mean. I took
Because it's not like we
this
don't
is
haven't had bad movies in the top 10 before.
yeah. Tucker, that is a fantastic point. But
Black
here's my
Adam was a
thing.
top 10 highest grossing movie of the year it came out.
Was it?
Yeah,
That's
was
crazy.
it not? Am I fucking smoking crack?
I
Oh
don't
wait,
think it
no. Wait, was that
was.
2022?
Yeah, it's
No, it was.
2022.
Okay, what the fuck am I smoking? No, but yeah,
There's bad
no.
movies. There's bad movies in the
Yeah,
top 10. Hey, Tucker, I
quite
thought
consistently.
the Super Mario Brothers movie was a bad movie.
Tanner, fucking Quantumania.
Yeah,
Quantum
exactly, exactly.
Minecraft movie is going to be on the same level of quality probably as Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Oh
And
God.
Tanner,
Yeah.
which is a more important and iconic thing to human culture, fucking
Ant
Ant-Man
Man or
or
Minecraft?
Minecraft?
Tucker, here's the thing. I just want this is like my biggest moonshot prediction. And like you're saying, in my entire casual career
Yeah.
of making box office predictions, and it will be the largest of ostrich eggs on my face if that
Yes.
doesn't
Yes.
happen.
Well, here's the great
Um,
thing, though. I'm glad that you did this. It lent for interesting conversation, and
mhm.
I get to hold this over you for the rest of the year, which is
That's
honestly
true.
something that I'm incredibly excited about. Like,
Uh,
look how fucking stupid you were.
yeah, well, you know, must you be so cruel about these things, Tucker? I don't make fun of you. I don't make fun of you for your bad predictions.
But they're because they're good.
Oh, because your bad predictions are good,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah.
And here's the thing, Tucker. I'm already hedging it, being like, I know I was wrong. You know, I had to take a swing somewhere. Tucker, where's the swings? Where's the
That's fair
swings
enough.
here in your predictions?
F1 in my
Come
top
on
10.
now. You know that's fair, but yeah. Well, I digress.
No, actually, I've got a
Um,
question for you. I don't know if you thought about this necessarily, but what do
okay.
you think the Minecraft movie makes either worldwide or domestically? You can pick your poison there.
Um,
What does it land at
domestic
by the end of its run?
domestically, I'll say like 180 million dollars.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it'll have $100 million
Um,
opening weekend, but you know.
I mean, Tucker, both of these things, these timelines exist simultaneously in my head.
You're a man of multitudes, and that's what I respect about you.
I'm drawn between them. I'm a man lost in the
Yeah.
woods, and I don't know which path to go down.
And then do you have an
Uh,
idea of like a general worldwide final total?
Worldwide, like 500 million.
All right. All right. Okay.
Yeah,
All right. We'll see.
yeah.
Moving on.
Tucker, were you just asking me that question so you could lord that over me
Oh no, no. I was
in a few
honestly
months?
curious if you thought about
Okay,
that, but
okay, yeah.
moving on to
Um,
your number three.
okay, number four,
Oh, your number four. Oh, we fucked it up somehow, but whatever.
Zootopia, Tucker.
Yeah, Zootopia.
Zootopia. It's the Walt Disney Animation Studios coming out this coming Thanksgiving. Uh, it's a big slot. We just saw that with Moana 2. I think Zootopia 2 is going to be a big ol' hit. Say $420 million, which is below what Moana 2 did.
Hmm.
But I also think that
I think that's
you know,
reasonable.
yeah, first Zootopia made $1 billion in 2016. Um, but also, you know, there was this whole conversation about like Moana is one of the most streamed movies ever on
Yeah,
Disney Plus. I don't know where Zootopia lands
I'm
on
pretty
that
sure it's up
list.
there.
Yeah, it's got to be up there, but yeah, I could probably go higher on Zootopia too, honestly. Maybe I could be convinced if I had more time to mull this over to swap my number four, or swap it with my number three rather.
Yeah.
But you know, Tucker, this is gonna be a huge hit. I don't know what to tell you. It's gonna be big.
No, I mean absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll talk about it when we get to my
Okay.
slot that I have it in. But yeah, I think this is very safe. To
Okay.
have in your top. Uh, your number three
Yes, is Superman.
is Superman.
So this is, you know,
Why don't you
much like
start with your number? What do you think domestic number is for
okay,
this one?
domestic number for Superman,
Okay.
$450 million. I'm gonna say it makes that roughly internationally. I think this comes close to being a $1 billion movie, but doesn't quite get there. Actually, I guess at that point I'd only be predicting
If it makes 450
actually
domestic,
one,
it
two.
absolutely would make $1 billion.
Yeah, I'll say this is going to be a $1 billion
Okay.
movie, which is actually that would actually make quite a few $1 billion movies in my predictions as it stands because I'd also predict Jurassic World and Zootopia to be billion
Sure.
dollar movies.
I think that's possible.
Um,
Certainly.
yeah. But yeah, I will say that yes. I'm echoing all the things that you said about Superman, Tucker. I think this is the opposite of Minecraft in a lot of ways, even for my predictions. In that, like the limited marketing that has come out for this has been super positive.
Yeah.
You know, pun intended for that matter. And I think that we look at Warner Brothers distributing this film. Tucker, who has had the two most successful marketing campaigns for their films
Yeah.
of the last couple years? For the films Barbie and Beetlejuice, which are
Hmm.
sort of these films that, as we said, maybe existed on the margins a little bit. People weren't exactly sure about them being box office hits. And then really brought the house down in terms of the final product. Barbie being the number one, Beetlejuice sticking around in the top 10, being a huge surprise and a huge success for Warner Brothers off of its budget. If you don't think Warner Brothers is going to be going whole hog into marketing Superman to be one of the biggest movies of the year based on the amount of money that's behind it, the importance of this launching their new superhero universe, being a launching pad for James Gunn as their creative chief officer, the commanding officer of the DC universe, the DC studios there, and all their new characters that are going to be in spin-offs and everything. This is going to be a whole hog bet for Warner Brothers and DC. So
Yeah.
I'm just going to say that it's going to be a huge success.
Let's be honest, they're hanging the future of the entire fucking Warner Brothers Discovery Industrial Complex on this shit.
Yeah,
And again, I think that this movie will be big. I have less high of hopes for the continuing future
sure, sure.
of the DCU. But yeah, I've got no qualms about this. I would not be surprised if it's $1 billion picture. I think this is going to be massive. I think it's going to be good. And you're right about that marketing campaign. Um, I hope that like word of mouth also really helps it.
I think so too.
Because DC has been in such an interesting up and down place for more than a decade at this point.
Hmm.
And the last time they tried to start one of these cinematic universes, it kind of stopped the day that it started.
You don't think that worked, Tucker? You don't
No.
think the DCEU was
But
successful?
I also think that who does understand a cinematic universe and
Who's that?
character storytelling is James Gunn. I think that resting
Oh,
the future on James Gunn is much stronger than Zack Snyder in terms of wider audience appeal.
hmm.
The man gets it. This is gonna be a great movie. Very
Yeah.
very very excited for this. And number three,
This is me.
yeah,
This is me crossing my fingers, being like, I hope Superman is like a bigger deal than anyone is imagining
yeah.
too. And Tucker, you have let's go to your number three.
My number three
It's my number two.
is Wicked for Good. Hilarious that they're doing that for this movie.
We're
Um,
steering clear of the part two branding.
yeah. Uh, I think that this is going to be the quote unquote biggest surprise of the year because of how much Wicked came out of the gate swinging, and
Yes.
I think that they positioned this, filming them back to back, 1 year later release in the perfect snowball effect for this movie where it's still in theaters now and still making a good amount of money. It's going to start picking up stuff and nominations wise at the awards circuit. Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo are going to be all over
Hmm.
for the next 2 months, and then that it's going to be the biggest trailer at the fucking Super Bowl. Like this
Yeah.
is going to be a non-stop Wicked Fest until the end of next year when this movie
It's
is
a it's
coming out of
it's a
theaters.
marketing campaign that will probably never really stop, honestly.
They're
I
gonna
mean,
find a way to make a Wicked 3 and put that out in 2026.
it's literally going to be one full year of like Wicked coming out. The award season, the new trailer for the new movie, and then them trying to improve upon like the viral marketing and everything like that
Yeah.
throughout the rest of the year, through the summer, dropping some more trailers, getting some viral things going, and then the movie's out in the fall.
Yep.
I think. I think this is going to be huge. I think it's going to be bigger than the first film. I think we both agree on that. I have it at a whopping $500 million
Yeah.
domestically. The only thing holding this back, and this is something that I think Universal needs to figure out in the coming year, is how to make this a hit internationally.
Hmm.
Wicked is not an international hit at
Yeah.
all. The domestic international split for the first movie that's still in theaters right now is like 60-40,
Yeah. I'm
honestly.
looking at it right now. It's 65-34,
Yeah.
which is even worse.
So, so they need if they can figure out how to make people outside of America care about Wicked,
Yeah.
this is a $1 billion picture.
I don't know what the answer is to that, but I think it's
I don't know either.
possible. And
Yeah.
I also think that one thing that is interesting in this movie's prognostication is that apparently the second part of the Wicked story is the part that people are much less excited about in general.
Yeah.
But that's for people that are fans of the pre-existing musical, not for
Hmm.
people who like the Wicked
The
movie.
movie.
And
I anticipate they'll also be changing some things. They're adding at least two new songs to
yeah,
the second half as well. So I think they are cognizant of the fact that they need to make this just as entrancing as this first half of the story.
yep, and I think they will, and I think it'll be big. Uh,
Um,
My number
Tucker, what's the
two.
number one here?
Well, no,
Oh, you had to do your number two.
my number
Sorry.
two is
Tell me about.
Zootopia 2. I didn't get too
Yeah.
much of a chance to talk about it
Oh,
earlier, but
yes, yes.
I I think that Zootopia 2 to me, and I know you'll agree with this, and the reason why I'm
Hmm.
actually a little bit surprised you don't have it in your top 3 is because this is the perfect Disney momentum building from Inside Out to Moana to Zootopia. We are
Hmm.
rebuilding the faith and the box office potential in their core animated pillars, both from Pixar and Disney Animation Studios or Walt Disney Studios. And Zootopia is, I mean, that's a great movie. And it's also very popular on streaming, and it made $1 billion. This is gonna make $1 billion, and it might even like come out to an even bigger swing. So
Yeah.
I'm especially because what we're seeing with this trend of Inside Out, Moana, Zootopia is that there is this 2010s new IP that were surprise hits that are now known quantities that you can easily build upon, and Zootopia 2 is definitely part of that.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, like, I don't disagree. This is gonna be a huge hit. I think it's gonna make $1 billion.
Yeah,
Like I said, I'm just pushing my cards onto Superman is
you
all
are.
I'm
You
doing here,
definitely are.
buddy. But also like Moana isn't gonna be top three this year
Mm.
either. So I don't know.
Well,
That's kind of my
it's
thing.
yeah, it's really close though. I'm looking at the
Yeah.
domestic currently. Wicked is currently number 3.
Hmm.
And Moana 2 is like 15 million behind it. Like it's
Oh,
really
sure.
not a
Okay.
big gap.
Yeah.
And frankly, Moana could stick around a little bit longer than Wicked. I think Wicked will still come out on top, but it's gonna be a tight race for that number 3 spot for
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
2024
Yeah.
movies. But
Okay.
Inside Out 2 is number 1, and
Hmm.
and no Pixar movies in either of our predictions for the top 10. Elio is not going to be massive, but
No, I don't think so.
Zootopia 2, again, it is in that exact same Bob Iger brain. Put the thing they recognize on the screen and market
Yeah.
it. It's
Well,
going to be big.
Tucker. I mean, speaking of places, things that people recognize, places people want to go. Even, what do we both have at number one?
We've got
Come on
Avatar,
now.
Fire, and Ash, baby. Boom.
Avatar, Fire, and Kish my ash.
Oh, yeah.
Tucker, I know you don't have numbers, but spitball Tucker for me. How much total worldwide do you think Avatar 3 is going to make?
Hmm.
Just give me a number.
Uh, well, I can't really remember where
I'll tell you.
Way
I'll
of
tell
Water
you.
tapped out at.
Just tell. Just give me a second.
My
Just give me a
gut
second.
my gut remembrance is something like $1.6 billion, 1.7.
Tucker, it made $1.6 billion internationally. It made 2.3
Oh, okay, that's right.
worldwide.
The top 3 movies have crossed $2 billion. That's what it is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was thinking it was around that, but
So Avatar 2 made $2.3 billion, Tucker. How much is
Tanner,
Avatar 3 gonna make?
Tanner, I was only off by about $700 million.
Yeah, paltry stuff.
Yeah, I guess it'll be around that. Yeah, sure. Let's just go with another 2.3.
Okay, you going 2.3, Tucker? I'm serving myself up another moonshot right here.
Highest grossing movie ever.
2.5 billion dollars.
And would that make it the highest grossing movie of all time?
I don't think it would be the highest grossing movie.
Well, how much does
I don't
Avatar
know.
make?
How much did the first Avatar make? The first Avatar made. It's loading. $2.9 billion.
Holy, oh my fuck, dude! Oh god.
No, so no. And that's in 2009 dollars as
Yeah.
well. So
Oh god. Oh, people are so stupid, man. People are so stupid when they're like, "Oh, Avatar doesn't got no one
Avatar
cares
doesn't
about
have
Avatar."
any cultural relevance.
$2.9 billion. Shut the fuck up. That's like $3.5 billion now, if not more.
Oh, fuck me. Yeah, I don't know. Is there anything to say? Is there anything to say?
No, I mean, but here's the thing, Tanner. Oh, it feels so good. It feels so good,
Yeah.
man. Oh, I can't wait. Oh,
Hmm.
that's all there is to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah. I mean, there's our predictions. Go ahead and ridicule me in the comments for not having Minecraft. I know I will have egg on my face in the future,
But
but
hey, you've got your cards with
can you
Michael.
imagine? That's true. I'm hedging my bets on Michael. Tucker, can you imagine if it is a flop though? Can you imagine how vindicated I'm going to
Now
feel?
that's gonna be
But
amazing.
but it probably won't be. It probably won't be. I'll probably be wrong anyway. But what if it is? Well, what if? This is everything going on in my head for like the past week or so. It's
Yeah.
like, do I put Minecraft in there?
Tanner, I respect you for sticking to your guns, though. A bold
Yeah.
prediction needs to be made in order to be any fun to fucking talk about.
Yeah.
To be completely transparent with the audience, I forgot to do this and just sort of slapdashed mine together. I feel like I was able to
Hmm.
make compelling arguments for them.
I
It's
think so
all
too.
vibes based anyway,
This is all fair. Yeah.
but it's going to be an interesting year because again, it's very competitive. And I hope that I hope that there's a surprise. I hope that surprise is F1. But
Yeah.
Tanner, we did it. We talked
Yes.
about our top 10 predictions for domestic of the year.
Hmm.
Um, why don't they
But we
do
ain't done.
domestic movie of the year at like the Golden Globes and the Oscars? No foreign movies. Fuck off.
Oh, yeah, best American movie. Well, but you just need to wind back a few years at
Eh,
the
you know what I'm saying?
Oscars to do that. Yeah.
But let's move on to our studio by studio breakdown, starting
That's right.
with the good folks over at Universal. Whoa, okay, I burped halfway through that.
Uh huh.
Universal.
Universal Studios. A big old slate on Universal. This a
Mm.
big old swinging slate on
Oh,
them.
fat, full of
Yeah.
movies.
Full of big old full of movies. I don't know. Actually, they're contending with our next one. Well, we'll talk about Universal here. So they have like multiple releases, at least one release. It seems every single month: May, June, July, August, September, October, November. Yeah, they got one every month.
Um. Oh yeah. Continue. Yeah. Sorry, I fucked something up in my head. Yeah. One every
Okay.
month is awesome. And also, if you look here, there is a really nice spread of genres and styles and
Mm-hmm.
budgets as well. This is an exciting lineup for them.
I agree. So we'll just run through this. The ones they have coming up. You've been seeing trailers for these, of course, are the Wolfman movie from Lee Winnell and
Yeah.
Blumhouse is coming out
Might be
in
up
a
by the
few
time
days
this
actually.
video goes up. Who knows?
Honestly, Dogman is their children's animated film coming out at the end of the month. Then they have a little action comedy in Love Hurts
Yeah.
coming out in February. And then they have another Blumhouse movie, The Woman in the Yard, coming out in late March. No marketing for this yet. It remains to be seen if they'll keep this date
Yeah.
for this thing. If they'll delay
We're
that,
getting
I'm not really
close
sure.
for a movie that's coming
We're
out in
getting close.
March.
Yeah.
Though, Tanner, you remember
Um.
what Blumhouse did last year with a couple of their movies where it's just like, or no, just like AI. Remember fucking Afraid?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
that got a trailer like fucking 3 weeks before it came out.
This could be actually a very similar scenario.
Yeah.
Thank you for pointing that out, Tucker. And then I think they have actually quite a few cool things on the slate this year as well. Starting off with April 11th Drop, which I don't think is going to be like a runaway smash success by any means, but relative to what I presume the budget is going to be on this, I think it'll be. I think it's a really cool concept. It's like a one location movie, which I know Tucker's already going to get your motor going here. It is a
Mm-hmm.
woman being terrorized by a person airdropping her photos, information, threatening her in like a single location, like a public place or something like
Sure.
that. So yeah, I think this
That's a
is going to be
crazy
some
premise.
sort of yeah, it's going to be like
Why
a
not?
thriller, a tech thriller of
Yeah.
sorts.
I hope it's the next
Drop on
trap.
April 11th. Yeah, could be, could be. Then May 9th is going to be Atlantis, or maybe this film is called Golden. This is the second Pharrell Williams biopic.
Mm,
Yeah.
fair enough.
In a few
Tanner,
months,
Tanner,
he had piece by
it's
piece.
the first for all Williams biopic.
Yeah, fair point. Fair point. Then you have a movie on June 13th that both of us left off of our
Yeah.
domestic or our box office predictions, which is How to Train Your
This is
Dragon.
the biggest collective we might have fucked up for our predictions. It
Yeah,
is. It just
but
fucking
like,
is.
do people really care about this? Is my
Yeah.
thing.
I don't know.
Um,
I do think that I think that people actually have reacted surprisingly positively to that
mm,
first teaser trailer. I think How to Train Your Dragon is another one that's primed for nostalgia in the same way that Lilo and Stitch was. I also personally have slightly more faith in this than most live action remakes because it is coming from that same director, which means that
oh yeah,
he
that's a good
made
point.
one of the great animated movies. I love How to Train Your Dragon. That whole trilogy
Yeah,
is
that's
actually
good.
very good. And he did. I don't know if he did all. No, yeah, he did. He did all direct all three of them. So like this is his
Well,
creative expression, and so him coming back to this is very much a studio driven thing. But like
it is.
you
That's my
trust the
only.
guy if you want to
That's my
trust
only
anyone.
hesitation about Universal like testing the waters on like the public want for this, if there exists any, because it's become transparent that this is purely a marketing ploy to like get interest ground or starting from the ground up for like a theme park expansion
Yeah.
that will be like How to Train Your Dragon themed.
That's
So
definitely coming. Yeah.
from that alone, I'm just like, for moral reasons, I excluded it from my top 10. Let's say.
Yeah, and that's totally fair.
Yeah,
It'll be interesting, but I think this is one that certainly could be big.
yeah. Tucker, Mithrigan 2.0,
Yeah.
June 27th, 2025.
Yeah.
Is this gonna capture the attentions again?
No, I don't think so.
Oh,
I
okay.
think that Megan was a one-off thing. I
Mm,
liked Megan quite a bit. I'm excited to see where this goes. I'm going to watch this movie. I'm sure I'll enjoy it. But I don't think. I think we've got another Smile 2 on our hands where it's like a
mm,
decent hit, especially because I'm sure this is going to be a reasonably budgeted movie.
yeah,
But Megan's viral sensation in early 23
yeah. January. Yeah.
was a surprise thing that I think they will try to recapture, but they're not going to be able to.
Yeah. Then they have Jurassic World Rebirth. We've already talked about that coming out the July 4th weekend,
Yep.
and then they don't have another movie until The Bad Guys 2, opening up August.
Yeah.
Again, some kids fare from DreamWorks again. There's actually a trailer out for this movie, which is nuts.
I've
And
been
this
seeing that
is
trailer for a
eight.
while. Yeah.
Yeah, this is like 8 plus, like 7 8 months away, and they put out a trailer for it. So pretty
I
cool, I
I saw
guess.
that trailer like 2 months ago. So
Yeah.
this is like almost a year in advance that they. But I also think that this actually is something that I want to point out about Universal's slate, and the reason
Okay.
why I have a really interesting confidence in this lineup is this is where the new momentum of movie going fandom seems to be trending. Almost every movie they have on here is a sequel to a surprise hit movie. The Bad
True.
Guys, new IP. Five Nights at Freddy's, obviously based on something, but new
Hmm.
IP, surprisingly successful. Megan, surprisingly successful. Black Phone 2, surprisingly successful. Wicked, surprisingly
Hmm.
successful. Like, they are the. Universal, unlike most studios, are building up a new slate of IP where suddenly these become the tentpole movies that are like, oh, yeah, it'll probably be number one in its weekend. Even though,
Hmm.
like, almost all of these were like, yeah, they were, but it was like they were released in a time where there's a lot of competition. They were able to build that
Yeah.
back up, and I think Bad Guys 2, they're going to market really, really hard. This is their big animated movie for the year.
Hmm.
That first one we actually really, really enjoyed. I'm excited to see
Yeah, it
this.
was a good movie.
Um,
Yeah.
and so, and Five Nights at Freddy's, they're going to market that super, super hard. Um,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we'll get to it in a moment. We'll run through, the rest of their like late summer, their fall slate, which includes Nobody 2, a sequel to the 2021 Bob Odenkirk
yeah,
film.
which wasn't
A
a particularly big financial hit from what I recall, but also released in a weird time period.
I'm also sure it was a big hit on VOD. For
Absolutely.
the dads. The
Yeah, yeah,
dads were
yeah,
digging
yeah.
that one. Let's see. September 26th is the Monkey Paw production Him,
Yeah.
which is sort of like a sports horror thriller,
Mm-hmm.
which sounds pretty interesting. Jordan Peele had a pretty close creative hand in that one, so
Yeah.
exciting stuff there. The Black Phone 2, Tucker, you mentioned, follow up to a successful 2022 horror film
Mm-hmm.
from Blumhouse. That's actually Tucker. I always see a good mark of success for a movie if it's being clipped up and put on TikTok, and people are like, "What movie is this? Whoa, this looks
The
cool.
Black
What movie
Phone?
is this?" Yeah,
What part of the Black Phone are people really like, oh, this
it's
is
the it's
super
the
cool?
it's the part where he gets the phone call for the first time in the basement, and he's
Sure.
like, "Don't go up there," and then it
Oh,
cuts
oh,
to
the
the
kid.
him sitting up the stairs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
People are like, "Whoa, this looks creepy. What movie is this?"
All right,
So
guys, why didn't you watch the Black Phone? Come on.
yeah, exactly. Wicked for Good, we talked about it already. Gonna be a
Yep.
big hit around Thanksgiving, and then Five Nights at Freddy's 2. So Tucker, this comes out the first week of December.
Why?
Famously
Crazy.
a famously a bad time to release movies.
Yeah, it is far
Are they
enough
trying to turn?
away that it
Yeah.
could be moved around. I would not be surprised if it doesn't stick to this date. But I also think that this is a safe enough pick to
Hmm.
where I think they might be trying to just seed the ground on a new space to put out a big movie. Um,
Okay, yeah, they might be trying to turn the fortunes on like the first few weeks
yeah,
of December release slot. I don't know if it's strong enough, especially because yes, Five Nights at Freddy's was a financial success for them, mostly because of its very limited budget.
yeah.
But like everyone who saw that movie, forgive me if I'm misremembering, but like even FNAF fans were like, "This movie's bad."
Mm.
Am I wrong in saying
I
that?
don't really remember, dude. I don't really care.
Okay. So I don't know if they see some bad faith going into this, but I don't know. Maybe Matthew Lillard will be back, so that's cool.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. But I also think that
It just seems like a note of bad faith to me to be having this release date.
yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I think it might just mean that there's less competition for it. I mean, there will certainly be holdovers uh from what came out at the end of November.
Yeah.
But it getting its own week, I think, is smart. Because I actually do think this is going to be a pretty big hit. I think they're going to market the absolute
Okay.
piss out of it. Because I
Sure.
mean, on like a what like actually I don't remember the budget of Finance Freddy's. I want to
I'm talking about it. Wasn't it like $25 million or something like that?
FNAF movie budget.
Budget.
$20 million made 300.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tanner,
Yes.
Blumhouse has the fucking stack going this year.
They
Megan,
do.
Black Phone,
They
and
gotta
Five Nights at Freddy's are like their
they gotta
three.
go to they gotta go to deck.
Yeah, they're like their three big new IP.
Yeah.
And I think they're gonna fucking even if
They
these
could be a big
movies aren't
success
great,
story.
like
Yeah.
I think this will be a really big turnaround because last few years have been fucking rough for
Yes.
Blumhouse.
So, well, that wraps it up for Universal. So we should mosey on over to Warner Brothers, the land of Zaslav, as it were.
Yeah.
Their slate is as follows. January 31st, Companion, which actually just got a second trailer, a full trailer, as opposed to like a teaser trailer out. Which I don't know. I think that'll be like I don't know, like a first or second base hit for them. I think it'll do solidly. I can't imagine that this costs a whole lot,
Yeah.
frankly. Then they have a very strange project in The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie.
Yeah.
This is a 2D animated Looney Tunes feature film being released in theaters. Why we're getting this and not Coyote versus Acme, I could not tell you. I don't know what the thinking is behind this. But like it's frankly, I think it's cool that they're
Yeah.
doing this. I think it's an interesting experiment, and I can unfortunately already see the outcome of this, which is this movie does not do well at the box office because audiences are not primed for this kind of thing, and Warner Brothers feels vindicated in
Yeah.
doing with the Looney Tunes IP what they have been doing.
Yeah. And then either the reaction on the fan side will be, "Oh, look what happens when like you give 2D animation like it's shot in the sun, like oh,
Mhm.
it's awesome." And then no one sees it because they're not marketing this movie. Is there even a trailer for this movie that comes out in less than 2 months?
I have there is a trailer for it. I'm fairly certain. I have not watched it in its entirety, so I could not tell you
Okay,
for
okay.
certain. But I think I have seen marketing and
Yeah.
stuff
But
online.
this is a really weird one. I don't think this is going to be big at
Yeah,
all. I think
no,
this is
I
their
don't think so.
next Where the Rohirrim, Tanner.
Yeah, I mean that's a fair
Just
point.
random
Uh,
fucking WB adjacent animated movie that they don't market.
Then Tucker, March 7th is Mickey 17.
Yeah, it
So this
is.
was swapped around. This has been swapped around a number of times. Most recently moved from April back to March to give it a bit of an IMAX window and also take a spot that was held up by Sinners, which we'll talk about in a moment. Um, I hope this is a big success too. Another one that I'm like, I hope that against all odds, Warner Brothers, or this is a big success for Warner Brothers to prove them wrong for
Yeah.
doing what they've done to this
Yeah, of
movie.
course. Yeah, they've kicked it around. They've delayed it like a whole year. This is the next movie from Bong Joon Ho, who made one of the
Yep.
biggest surprise hits of the last decade, and obviously won Best Picture with Parasite. I think it looks hilarious and fun, and I like all the actors
I'm
in
really
it.
excited. Yeah.
I can't wait for this movie. I hope it's excellent. But I also think it's so fucking weird that I don't know if I necessarily smell a hit on our hands. To be completely honest.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know either.
I think this is a sicko movie, which is good for us, but I don't know if it's good for Warner Brothers.
Yeah, we'll see. Uh, Tucker, there's this movie coming out called Alto Nights. You know about this?
Yeah,
You hear about this movie, Tucker?
this is the one with two Robert De Niro's.
This is a Barry Levinson film starring Robert De Niro in dual roles. It's a
Yeah.
classic like mob crime movie from Levinson starring De Niro. It's something we've seen before. So this is just an anecdote, and this is really the only thing I have to say about Alto Nights. Next time you go to your local movie theater, folks. This is for Tucker and everybody else watching this video. See if you can locate a poster for the movie Alto Nights. Okay?
I don't think
Then
I've
go
ever seen
ahead,
one.
go ahead and look on Letterboxd and look up the movie Alto Nights. It's not on. The poster is in theaters, available, has been for many months at this point. It's just not online in any capacity. There's no like digitally released version of this poster.
That's
It's
crazy.
weird. It's so weird to me. that's the other thing I have to say about Ultranites. You have a Minecraft movie, which is obviously going to be a huge flop for Warner Brothers.
Yep.
Moving on, Sinners, daughter, Sinners, Warner Brothers, Sinners.
Yeah.
Again,
Sinners is
another one.
interesting because
Yeah.
this is, I think, interestingly in conversation with Jurassic World Rebirth, which is
Okay.
a movie that we only heard about for the first time about a year and a half ago. That is, or by the time it's coming out, that got
Hmm.
fast tracked into production and is now releasing in a sort of tentpole slot. Obviously, a slightly different scenario based on IP versus new IP, but the reason why Jurassic World Rebirth is being fast tracked is sort of like, oh god, oh fuck, we need a fucking hit. Oh god, oh fuck. Some find some guy to make us a fucking Jurassic World movie, and Gareth
Hmm.
Edwards is like, I haven't made a hit in 10 years. Pick me, pick me.
Pick
But
me, pick me.
Sinners is coming from Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler, two of the most
Hmm.
promising creatives in the industry right now, who are being given essentially carte blanche to do their creative vision together in a massive slot. What they're hoping
Yes.
for is the next movie from the two of them where they've worked together, Creed and fucking Black Panther.
Hmm.
And so I think this could really be big, and I think it'll be good because it seems to be motivated by a studio allowing them to just get
Yeah,
the
well,
runway
yeah.
and go with it.
There was a bidding war for this movie.
Yeah,
Ryan Coogler was basically like, "Here's the movie I want to make with Michael B. Jordan. Who wants to finance it for me?"
yeah,
Basically, and there was a huge bidding war in Hollywood, and Warner Brothers came out on top with it. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of faith in the industry that this is going to be good too. So I'm
yep,
I'm very excited for this. Another Warner Brothers movie like Alternatives, where main guy's doing two roles.
sure,
Interesting stuff. Tucker, Final Destination Bloodlines.
yeah, if you
Bloodlines.
say so, buddy.
Uh-huh. This is one that's been that was like finished a long time ago, I
Oh,
think, or
really?
a while ago. And Warner Brothers was like, date for it, date for it, date for it, May 16th. So there you go. Um, I'm excited, mostly because I get have an excuse to watch all the Final Destination
Yeah, yeah,
movies.
yeah.
Is what I'm looking forward to. I don't know anyone involved with this movie. I don't know who's in it. I don't know who directed it. Actually, hang on, let me pull this up.
Tanner,
Tucker,
they made
tell.
up a guy. Tanner, they're gonna
Did
every
they?
person here is gonna be made up for this movie.
Nation
You're not gonna recognize a single fucking name.
Bloodlines.
Trust me.
Hang
I
on,
don't even know who
hang
it is.
on.
I already know.
We'll talk about how you know that Tony Todd is in it. He's in all of them.
Oh, is he the voice of the
S-
Final Destination? I don't fucking know.
no, he's like the guy who explains what the rules of the movie are.
Oh, so yeah, so they're probably
Uh,
just fucking reutilizing his goddamn audio from 20 years ago.
yeah, Adam Stein. I don't know any. Tucker, I
Tanner,
don't know any of these guys.
everyone
What's
was
going on
made
here?
up for this movie. They
Uh,
generated them for this film. I
Black
don't think this is gonna be big at all. I think this is gonna come
No.
out and be a flop, and no one's gonna care.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
Next up in July, Superman. This is really what they're hanging their hat on for this year.
Yep.
We've already talked about that. Tell me, Tanner, tell me about August 8th, the Battle of Bactan Cross.
So this is the new Paul Thomas Anderson film.
Oh, that's right.
This is the
Is it
one that's
officially called
starring
that?
Lee. No, not officially called
Okay.
that. At least not to my knowledge. But this is like the leaked title for it. I
Hmm.
think so. The title could change in the coming months or whatever. I've also heard that they might delay this to like more of a award
Sure.
season slot. But they put this in summer as like some trying to make it like a blockbuster of sorts. This is getting an IMAX release, probably in whatever release slot it ends up coming out in.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think they're trying to go for like a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood kind of phenomenon with
Sure.
this. So more power to them. I'm excited for this
We'll
one. I think
see.
it looks neat.
Interesting
It's also
place
kind of it's
for
kept
this
under
to
wraps
let.
like what it's about too,
Yeah, yeah.
which is interesting. Tucker, September 5th, The Conjuring, The Last Right or Last Rites.
Yeah, sure, buddy.
The final Conjuring movie.
I don't fucking believe that, but whatever.
Okay, fair point. I'm sure it'll be a big hit as these movies often are. The Bride on September 26th. This is Maggie Gyllenhaal directing. This is Jesse Buckley. This is Christian Bale in her sort of take on The Bride of Frankenstein as a reboot. Looks cool. Don't think it's going to be a big hit, but I hope I'm proven wrong. There's that. October. Animal Friends and Mortal Kombat 2 both come out in October. Mortal Kombat 2 was apparently one of the most watched like HBO Max like their day and date
Yeah,
stuff
in
back in
2021. Yeah.
2021. So Do you think this will be a big hit at the box office, Tucker, or
I
is
don't
this
think so.
like a limited thing to people being like, "Oh, neat, there's a Mortal Kombat movie," and now they don't care anymore?
I think that's it. I mean, I don't. What the fuck's happening here? Like,
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's interesting that they're continuing this, and I'm glad that it's a theatrical release, and it seems
Hmm.
like it's had a good amount of time in the oven. But this is a very big unknown for me. Like, I
Yeah,
can't tell you what this is really going to be, but I don't know. Hope it's good.
yeah. Also, Animal Friends, just quickly, is like a Strays type of situation where I think it's like live action animals voiced by celebrities doing rude stuff. It's Ryan Reynolds and Aubrey Plaza and some other
Yeah,
famous
yeah.
people are in it.
That's an interesting one because
Hmm.
Ryan Reynolds is very rarely in flop movies. I think
True.
there's a chance that somehow he and his friends turn this into a surprise hit.
Okay.
I'm just smelling that on the wind because he's a guy
Mm.
that you
You're
put your
sniffing
faith
it
in.
out like a bloodhound.
Yeah. But nobody knows about this movie, and
Yeah.
I would keep it on your radar for even if it's not a very good movie, it being
Hmm.
surprisingly successful. Given that
Yeah.
specifically Ryan Reynolds, the guy that's made Crash, he found a space in being both the family movie guy and the crass, violent, inappropriate movie guy.
True.
And
True,
so
Dad.
this is a weird melding of the two. I think this is going to be what Strays wanted to be, and it's going to be a hit.
I think so. I can see that future, Tucker. I can prognosticate that with along with you. Paramount Pictures.
Ah, a
Uh,
Paramount picture.
they have some films that, quite a few films that are still a ways out, but some ones that have trailers already. You might have seen trailers for Novocaine, starring Jack Quaid, is coming out in March, and then of course
Yeah.
their big first blockbuster attempt of the summer in Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, coming out in May. Really interesting that they're pitching that or trying to frame that as the final Mission Impossible movie. Will it actually be the final Mission Impossible movie? Not if Tom
Well,
Cruise has
no,
anything to say about
it's
it.
his final reckoning. He can do some other stuff though.
Oh, yeah, okay.
When he's done with the reckoning, he can other
Yeah,
adventures.
he's been fully reckoned, and now he can have full. Yeah,
Yeah,
he can have more adventures with Benji and what's Ving Rhames' name? Do we
I don't remember. No,
remember?
I don't remember.
Okay.
But they're both
Uh,
gonna die in that movie. So
what?
yep,
No.
lock it in.
Okay. July 4th is the release of the Trey Parker, Matt Stone. These are the South Park guys,
Yep,
obviously. Kendrick Lamar like concept musical comedy.
yep,
I am very excited for this movie. I am waiting with bated breath to hear anything more about it
yeah.
past the concept, which seems very cool to me. And I think it's super cool that this is coming out like July 4th weekend.
This is
Um,
gonna be crazy. I was looking
yeah,
at the lineup of movies. Obviously, you don't know anything specifically about this film, but if there's anyone who can sell a movie to an audience, I think it might be Kendrick Lamar. To be completely honest, because he hasn't been
it's
involved
cool.
in a
It's
movie before, as far as I know.
not to my knowledge, yeah.
Um, and so this being something new, and obviously with someone with a pair of guys that have, uh,
Lots like decades of comedic cultural cachet.
yeah, and creative success as well.
Yeah.
I think that this is another one. This and Animal Friends, Tanner. These are
Mhm.
the secret hits.
These are the comedies. These are the comedies you need to watch out
Yeah,
for. Okay.
and then you need to watch
Um,
out for the fucking Smurfs movie. That's gonna be a kids movie, and
yeah,
I'll see it and fall asleep.
that one's gonna be a musical. Rihanna's in it, and
Oh,
this is one that they've been
what
trying
the
to
fuck?
get
They're just
made.
doing trolls.
Yeah, exactly. This is one that they've been trying to get made for years, literally off the back of Trolls being a success. They're like, oh, we could do that. Smurfs are kind of like Trolls. Let's see if we can get this made. And it seems it's finally coming out.
Yep,
Um, Tucker, speaking of comedies, there's a Naked Gun reboot coming out
there
this
is.
year.
Yeah,
I think this is like Akiva Schaffer, and maybe like the Lonely Island guys are also associated with this. Let me pull this up.
that
Um,
sounds right.
but August 1st, I don't know if
No,
this spells a lot of confidence
no, it
to me,
doesn't.
frankly.
No, I think this
Who's
is
in
going to be
this?
weird. I think this is not going to make a lot of money, and it's just going to be like,
Oh yeah,
oh, remember that? It's Liam Neeson.
Liam Neeson's in it.
Yeah.
Pamela Anderson's in it. Paul Walter Hauser. Um, I think. Listen, I'm excited for this.
I
CCH founder
it's
Liza
not and
Koshy.
not necessarily that it's going to be bad, but early
Uh-huh.
August is a fucking dumping ground, and so I
Yeah.
think that this is going to be something that they are. This is one where it's like you're putting out in August because you're like, well, we can't put it out against all the other shit that's coming out in June and July, but we
Yeah.
will still want it to be kind of seen as like a summer
A
fun
summary
movie.
kind of thing.
But
Yeah.
but we don't actually have the confidence in it that I can take on this other stuff.
Hmm.
So whatever, and they're just not gonna make a lot of money in early August because
Yep.
nothing does.
I can dig that. Tucker, October 3rd is the release of Roofman. You know Roofman?
Yeah, didn't that like premiere like a fucking year ago?
I think you might be thinking of Pool
Oh, I
Man.
am. This is
That
different
Chris Pine.
apparently.
This is different than Pool Man. This is Channing Tatum as is like based on a true story about a guy who did some heists or something like that.
Let's be
It's directed by
honest.
yeah.
Channing Tatum, fun guy, like him in movies. He's not a box office draw. We need to
Yeah.
stop doing trying to put him like make him be a big thing again. He's a great. I'm sure I'll enjoy this movie. I
Mhm.
even liked him in fucking Dog, but he's not he's not the leading
Yeah,
man anymore.
this is also not going to be like a romp, I don't think, because I'm just looking at the director. The director is the director of Blue Valentine, Place Beyond the Pines, and like The Light Between Oceans. So this isn't even going to be like a fun, zany like
Mm,
Oceans type of heist movie. I don't think. I think this is going to be a bit more like
sad,
contemplative and sad, a little bit.
sad heist movie. You know
Sad heist movie.
that's a market that's not particularly well served.
That's true. That is true. October 24th is Regretting You. So, off of the experiment of It Ends With Us, this is the next Colleen Hoover adaptation coming down the pike. And what I'm interested in seeing, I think I talked about this a little bit in the Discord. I'm going to plug the Discord again. This is where these discussions are happening.
Yeah,
Um, I'll be interested to see if it is truly the Colleen Hoover like brand name that is getting these
yeah.
things made and making these successes, or if it's like a mixture of that branding, the popularity of her, specifically the book It Ends With Us, and then also like the Blake Lively factor being a draw, because this one does not have the same level of stars, I don't believe. I'm trying to
Hmm.
pull up who's all in this.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is really interesting. Getting another movie adaptation based on another Colleen Hoover book a year later. Um,
Hmm.
I think you could really see this get some good momentum off the success of It Ends With Us. Yeah, right. Yeah, It Ends With Us.
Yes, yes, yes.
It's such a fucking generic name. I can never remember if like is that did I miss a word in there? Uh, you know that the first thing that this trailer is going to do is from the studio that brought you It Ends With Us.
Oh
And
yeah,
they're going to be
yeah.
showing this trailer for a long time. It's going to get a much bigger marketing campaign than It Ends With Us did. And so did you find out who the stars were?
Yep. It's Allison Williams from Get Out and Megan.
Yeah.
It's McKenna Grace.
Oh,
It's
interesting.
Dave Franco
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
Mason Thames from
That's
Black
that's
Phone and How to Train Your Dragon.
that's a totally fine lineup, especially for something that's much more based on its premise than the stars. So,
Sure.
yeah, this is interesting. I don't know what the production history of this movie is because my mind, because I didn't even know this was happening until I just saw this.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, my mind is like, oh, well, they saw that It Ends With Us was success and they instantly greenlit it and it's coming out a year later. That's worrisome. But it's also possible that this has been
Yeah,
also kicking around
I
for a
think it's
while.
been for a bit longer than that. Actually, hang on. I'm looking at a news article. Let me see when the Deadline article came out. No, yeah, Tucker, actually, you're right. It was August 2024.
Oh, okay. Interesting. We'll see. But also, you
Let's-
can make a fucking rom com in a year, or a
you could do
rom
that. Yeah,
dram in a year.
exactly. The script is basically there
Yeah.
already. You know.
Hmm.
Where are we at? Where are we at?
We're at the Running Man on November 7th, which is
Yeah,
the
this was
Edgar Wright, Glenn Powell,
yes.
quote unquote remake reboot of the Running Man from whenever the hell that came out.
Yes. So yeah, this is an adaptation of the Stephen King novel. There's been some production stills coming out that indicates to me that they're not doing like the full zany like shiny jumpsuits version of this story that was done by Arnie back in the 90s. This is, I think, more accurate to what the book is, which is kind of just like a regular old guy wearing like a brown jacket and slacks running around doing this stuff. So this was dated to come out the same day as Wicked for Good. They moved it back a little bit to avoid competition there because I don't think they're positioning this to be like as big of a movie as like Gladiator 2 was to have maybe even try to go up against Wicked.
Hmm.
So yeah, your movie for boys, movie for girls thing has dissolved in
Oh well,
2025. Wicked's for everyone, you
yeah.
know.
And then there's a SpongeBob movie to close out the year. Whatever.
SpongeBob, we all love SpongeBob, don't we, folks? Okay, Disney. Remember how slight their slate was for this year?
Hmm.
2025 looking much stronger. So we already talked about a few of these, so we'll fast forward through a couple of them. Captain America: Brave New World, Valentine's Day, talked about it already.
Hmm.
Snow White, March 21st. Neither of us had it on our top 10. I think it's going to be a flop. Tucker, do you think it's going to be a flop?
Uh, well, like a flop flop or like a Little Mermaid flop, where it's like, okay, well, it still actually made a good amount of money.
Which one do you think it's going to be? Do
I
you think
think
it's going to be either of
I
those?
think it's gonna be a Little Mermaid flop, where it makes
Okay, what do you,
more money
it,
than most people would want it to.
more money than most people wanted to, but not as much as Disney wanted it to.
Yes, correct. Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
sounds good. All right. I think it's gonna be a flop. Flop. I think
Sure.
that's what I'm thinking. April 11th, The Amateur. This is Rami Malek. This is a 20th century movie specifically. I should point out. He's Rami Malek is like he's an amateur. He's a pencil pusher at the CIA, having to go out in the field to avenge his wife. There's a trailer out for this. You've probably seen it. I think it looks okay. I think if you're trying to make Rami Malek like an action star, this is the better route to go
Yeah, a
down.
little more clever.
Uh, a little more clever, like laying into the fact that he is like a weird Weasley wienery kind of guy,
Yeah,
not a like a
but he just loves his
regular
wife
actions.
because
He
his
loves
wife died.
he's a wife guy, you know.
Yeah. Um, this is a hilarious movie to just happen in general because it feels like we forgot this in like 2008, and then it's just like they're bringing it back.
Yeah.
Or either that,
Yeah.
or it feels like something you would see for Amazon Prime original or something like that.
That's true. It also does look like a Jack Ryan
Yeah.
or something like that. Anyway, Thunderbolts talked about it. That's Marvel's movie opening up May. Those are
Hmm.
always pretty big. Will Thunderbolts be the exception? I don't know. Lilo and Stitch talked about it May 23rd. Elio June 13th. Um, again, this is Pixar's only movie this year.
Hmm.
This was delayed from March of 2024, pushed back, pushed back, pushed back to eventually this summer slot. This summer slot indicates to me that, or is this just Pixar trying to hold down that typical slot that they have? I don't really know.
It's very hard to gauge. I think
Yeah,
what it signals to me is holding down that date and just keeping Pixar at a consistent clip. And
yeah,
also, the next one for next year is Toy Story 5, correct?
I
Um,
think so.
yeah,
Yeah,
and so like for me,
which
it's
I think
like,
is gonna be. I think it's gonna make more money than Elio. What do you
yeah, I
think?
agree with that. But I think it also is like, let's give that another year. We can move
Hmm.
Elio around, give that one another year to really cook. So yeah, I actually have a lot of faith in Elio. I think it's a really
Yeah,
fun idea. The
I think
animation
it
looks
looks good
good.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I also think that for the most part, Pixar's done a really good job with their 2020's new IP. And I don't think
Hmm.
people get enough credit for that. And this, yeah, okay, Inside Out 2 is a direct sequel that made $1 billion, whatever. It doesn't mean that they're not making new movies. This is one of them. So
They
go
are.
go see the
All
fucking
you people,
movie.
all you people who are clutching your pearls, being like, "Oh, Pixar's abandoning all their original stuff." Go see Elio then, smart guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
And go. It doesn't really do much at this point, but go
mhm.
rewatch Soul and Luca and Turning Red and Elemental. Guys, it's 2025 now, and they've already made it four, and they're coming up to their fifth new IP
Mhm.
this decade. What the fuck are you smoking? Not everything
Okay.
is a new IP or a sequel. God damn it. Fantastic Four First
Um,
Steps, gonna be fun, gonna be
talked
good.
about it. Yeah. A Freakier Friday. Jamie Lee Curtis, Lindsay Lohan returning. Both of them are having like this really interesting career resurgence
Yeah.
in recent years. Um, I'll be interested to see if that translates to Freakier Friday.
Very, very crazy this is coming to theaters, to be completely honest.
Exactly true. I'm sure this was greenlit years ago as a Disney Plus film, and then they've abandoned that whole project, so now it's
Yeah.
coming to theaters. Tron Ares, October 10th. This film stars Jared Leto.
I don't know, man. People
I
actually
don't
care
know.
about Tron. That's the crazy thing is like, why are we doing
Mhm.
this for a third time? You tried this exact thing once before.
Uh-huh. But Tucker, now Tron Legacy has like a cult, like it has a cult
Yeah, but
following
not
now.
really. Yeah, but
Well,
yeah,
yeah.
but not like we should greenlit $150 million movie off of that.
150. Oh boy, Tucker, you're being quite hopeful with your low budget Disney on
That's a good point.
Tron
That's a
thing.
good point.
It's like 200 plus. I'm willing to bet.
Jesus Christ.
And Jared, yeah, everyone loves Jared Leto. He's not a
He's
controversial figure
Morbius.
he's Morbius. Everyone loves him. I don't have good vibes about this one. 20th Century again. Predator Badlands. This is also worth mentioning that we're getting like another Predator movie coming out at some point this year. I think in theaters, or is that one? Did they say that one is
It's
going
a
to
Hulu
streaming?
thing, right?
Yeah, it's a Hulu thing. I think you're
I'd
right.
love it to also,
Um,
but we don't know anything about that project, as we can't really talk about it here.
mhm.
I'm very, very glad that they saw people like Prey, and they're like, okay, we'll do another one, and then we'll actually give it to you in fucking theaters this time, where Prey would
Yeah,
have
yeah, yeah,
absolutely
yeah.
made money. So this is a make good, and I'm excited for it.
I think so too. This is Elle Fanning. It's like set in the like the near future or something. I think.
Sure.
Dan Trachtenberg coming back.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Oh
Good
yeah.
stuff all around. Excited.
And
Zootopia
Zootopia
2.
and Avatar.
Yep.
Disney's got every kind of movie a man could want this year. And I actually think this is a really healthy lineup. So
I think so too.
I don't have a lot
Honestly,
of complaints.
it's fun to dog on Disney, but like honestly, this is pretty solid. I
Yeah.
think. I don't know. Tucker, Lionsgate.
Yeah, let's just go through this because they're funny. We just want to have them on here because, like, Jesus Christ, they put out a lot of movies. And by the way,
Mhm.
we have this on there. This is what's on their slate for now.
Yeah.
They're gonna fucking come up with movies every month. There's gonna be one you didn't know was
Hey,
happening.
Tucker, Tanner Dykstra, Backlot Banter. They still have two The Strangers movies in
Oh,
the
that's true.
tank
That's a great point.
that were supposed to come out last year. Remember that?
Oh yeah, and also we talked about Warner Bros. Already. They're supposed to put out a fucking Horizon Chapter 2 at some point.
Yeah, yeah. They might sell that to like Netflix or something.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah. Den of Thieves 2 Pantera already out, dethroned Mufasa to be the #1 movie this weekend. First 2025 film to have the #1 spot at the box office.
Yep.
Feather in their cap. Also, first #1 for Lionsgate at the domestic box office since 2023.
Sure. I mean, yeah, but like that makes sense.
Their 2024 was famously awful, so
Yeah.
that makes sense. Flight Risk also coming out this January.
Yep.
I guess
Looking to
January, yes, action
dethrone
movies.
Den of Thieves 2 Pantera.
Exactly, exactly. February 21st, The Unbreakable Boy.
Yippee.
Zachary Levi's in
God,
this.
that feels like a fucking Lionsgate movie. God.
Oh God, does it? Oh, does it? Tucker?
God,
Oh,
it's got
does it?
Whitebird written all over it, baby.
It's a movie about how being a parent with an autistic child is hard.
Yep.
So
But there's still joy to be found in it, Tanner.
there's still joy to be found in
Because
the
you
world,
love your
isn't
son.
there?
And you're Zachary
That's right.
Levi, who's a good Christian
And I'm
boy.
Zach. Hurry Up Tomorrow
I don't know
is
what
a
this is.
film that's being put out in conjunction with the new Weekend album,
Oh,
which is also of the same name. It's a very fascinating project that is not going to make any money at the box office. I don't know what this is about. The Weekend is in it, so
Sure.
maybe, but probably not. From the world of John Wick, Ballerina. June 6th. I've been saying this to anyone in the theater with me. Sorry, anyone who's sitting next to me, as in one of our friends, whenever
Yeah,
this
yeah.
trailer comes on. I don't announce it to the whole
Wait,
theater.
there's a
every time the
trailer for this
comes on.
movie?
Yes, has been for a while.
What? Are they not showing it in fucking Austin, Texas? What's happening? When did this
I don't
trailer
know.
come out?
I've seen it. I've seen it a couple times.
I've been seeing movies every week. Where's this fucking trailer?
I don't know.
I'm
I
not
don't know,
joking. I
buddy.
didn't even know there was a trailer for this. What the fuck?
Well,
Crazy.
we got it in front of Den of Thieves, obviously, because
Oh,
Lionsgate.
Well,
But
you know what? I haven't seen
what-
any Lionsgate movies recently. That honestly might be the difference because you
Yeah.
go see a lot more random nonsense than I do, and you know what Lionsgate is good at? Random nonsense.
and nonsense. So the thing about John Wick, from the world of John Wick, Ballerina. This
Thank
is
you for
directed
giving
by
it its
Len
whole
Wiseman.
Christian name.
This was supposed to come out in June of 2024.
Yeah.
It was delayed an entire year because I'm sure Lionsgate executives saw this, and for whatever reason, they're like, this is a big important IP. We can't have this one tarnishing the good name of John Wick because apparently it was bad. Because Len Wiseman makes exclusively bad movies.
Yeah.
So what they did was they got Mr. John Wick himself, Chad Stahelski, to come in. They're like, please, Chad Stahelski, fix this movie, please. Here's tens of millions of dollars. Please fix the movie. So Chad Stahelski apparently came in and filmed like new action scenes for this movie, and if you see the trailer, the action scenes look actually really cool.
Cool.
So what I'm looking forward to is the action in Ballerina being very good. The rest of the movie, ooh,
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a conversation around that movie very interesting, but I think it's gonna be a flop.
yeah, I think so too.
Saw 11.
September 26th. Saw 11 is currently still on their slate.
Yeah.
The word at the rumor mill is that this movie is just not happening.
Yeah. We'll see.
For lots of internal, like, twisted pictures, politicking reasons about where the franchise is going to go in the future.
That's so
I
fucking
don't think
stupid.
I don't think it's going to come out this year, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So
It was supposed to come out last year.
It was same date too.
That's nuts.
October 3rd is Michael, which
Yeah,
we
billion
talked
dollar
about
picture
already.
or whatever you said.
Billion $1 billion for
Well,
Michael.
actually, you kind of
Uh,
did insinuate that with like this is the next Bohemian Rhapsody. So
hmm
yeah, Michael October 3rd. What the fuck is Good Fortune on October 17th?
Good Fortune is a studio comedy. This is coming from for sure. Aziz Ansari is in it. The uh, the description for this, Tucker, and let me know how this hits you as a comedic gentleman.
Haha.
Uh, all right. Oh, it's also Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves is in this movie.
What's that? Yeah, Keanu Reeves, Aziz Ansari, Seth Rogen are in it. Kiki Palmer, Sandra Oh, some other folks. It's basically it's that's what it is. It's like Aziz Ansari is a poor guy and Seth Rogen is a rich guy and Keanu Reeves is an angel and he's like, you two are switching lives. Whoop! And that's what the premise of the movie is.
All right.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
a studio comedy that's being
sure.
put out in theaters.
Yeah, we don't see a lot of those, so good
No.
on you, Lionsgate. Now you see
Um.
me three.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. I mean, oh, this is a weird one because it feels like what, like why, but they might just have a plan for this. The marketing hasn't started yet. We don't really know
Yeah.
anything about it, so this is a very much a wait and see for me.
Yeah. And December 25th is The Housemaid. This is a Paul Feig film that is starring Sydney Sweeney, Amanda Seyfried,
Paul Feig
and
also has fucking A Simple Favor 2 happening
yes,
this year.
yes.
Huh.
Well, The Housemaid is filming right now. It should be
Oh,
noted.
hey,
Also based on a
get
very
that bag,
popular book.
Paul.
Yeah, this is one to keep your eye out for because apparently this book is quite popular with like your It Ends With Us type
Hmm.
crowd, like your book talk crowd.
Yeah,
So
and it
I'd
has
keep your
Sydney
eye on
Sweeney
this
in it,
one.
right?
Exactly.
Yep.
I'd watch out for this one too.
Cool.
Sony. Sony has a small slate this year, inexplicably. Not really sure why. But February 14th is they're doing the American release of Paddington in Peru.
Peru. Yep.
May 30th, Karate Kid Legends. I think this looks solid. I'm not sure if there's still like the nostalgia factor for Karate Kid.
Yeah, we'll see.
June 20th, 28 years later, I think this looks very
I
good.
think it looks
I'm
fucking
very
sick, dude.
excited for this. Yeah.
Yeah, totally,
Danny
man.
Boyle coming back for this. This is them trying to launch a trilogy of 28 years later films.
Yeah.
The second one is coming out in January 2026, and then
Mm.
I think they just confirmed that Danny Boyle will be doing the third film as well.
All right.
So, yes. I've also heard good like general audience buzz off of this.
Yeah.
The trailer sound is becoming like a viral sound on
Oh,
TikTok,
interesting.
which I think is a good sign.
Well, not for much longer, because
Well, yeah,
yeah,
for about a week more.
yeah,
I Know What You Did Last Summer, the remake or legacy sequel. I guess I should say.
yeah, yeah. Because some of the original stars from the old movie are coming back in this, right?
They are coming back indeed. I'm sure this will be like a Scream 2022 light.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. Absolutely. Because
Uh,
that's what I Know What You Did Last Summer was. Is
yep.
Scream Light. Yeah.
Exactly. Scream light.
So
But
got history repeats itself. Art is
it
cyclical.
does.
Insert things like I just think it's funny.
Yeah.
People might look at this and
Um.
get like really dour about it. I'm like, guys, this is how shit works, man. Like just let it
mhm.
happen. It's gonna come out. No one's gonna fucking watch it. And it's gonna be like an interesting tidbit.
Yeah. Beneath the Storm. This is like I don't know. It's like a survival movie
Is
of
that
some
it's the
kind.
same thing or different than the Bleeding Ground?
That is. I think that's an old poster
Oh,
for what the title of the movie used to be.
fair
But
enough.
there wasn't a lot of options going around. And then December 25th, just announced, is Paul Rudd and Jack Black's R-rated comedy Anaconda
Sure, we'll see what happens
remake
with
of
that. Yeah,
Anaconda.
why not?
I think it's fun. I
Yep.
like both those guys. I think they're funny.
Moving
Okay,
on
Tucker.
to
Let's round it
A24
out.
and
We're out of the
almost done.
Almost done. We're rounding it out. Here we go. So A24 only has three currently dated films, but they have many others that will most likely release this year. Those three films that currently have dates are The Legend of Ochi. You might remember this one that caused some drama on film Twitter for everyone saying, this looks like it's made with AI. And this filmmaker had to be like, it's not. Okay. Uh, March 14th is Opus, which is a film that stars Iowa Debris.
Oh,
This doesn't have a poster, but you can see her down in the little
I
production
do.
still right there.
Always will.
Yep. And December 25th is Marty Supreme. This is the Timothy Chalamet, Benny Safdie, I think, or Josh Safdie directing. It's like a ping pong world traversing comedy kind of deal.
Yeah. And then on top of that, they have Death of a Unicorn, which does have a trailer and a poster, but not a date.
Yes,
A movie called Friendship. That's the one with Tim Robinson
Tim,
there.
that's right. Tim Robbins not Tim Robbins, Tim
Tim Robbins'
Robbins' son,
son. Yeah,
and
it's his
Paul
son.
Rudd.
Yeah, please,
It's
Tim
his son.
Robbins, my father. Uh,
Tim-
Tanner, we're gonna see Tim Robinson on the big screen.
it's been
Tanner,
too.
best day of my life.
We, hey, fun fact, Tucker. We heard Tim Robinson on the big screen not too long ago. Because he was the. This is a weird thing that I probably shouldn't take a detour into doing. You remember in Scream 6 that there was like the scene where Jenna Ortega's roommate was having sex with her boyfriend in like the other room? Remember that bit in that
Sure.
movie?
Oh, it's like the opening of the movie, right?
Yeah, the opening of the movie. The voice of the boyfriend, whom we never see, is Tim Robinson.
Okay, whatever, Tanner.
Weird.
Yeah,
Yeah, sorry.
very weird. Then we also have The Materialist. What do you know about that?
That is the follow-up from Celine's Song.
Oh,
This film stars Dakota Johnson, Pedro Pascal, and Chris Evans.
okay, great, sure.
Big movie stars in
Yeah,
this film.
the
Seems
stars
cool.
of the stars of The Last of Us and Madam Web
Exactly.
and Mother Mary.
Mother Mary is the director of hang on, I'll look it up. But it's Anne Hathaway and Michaela Cole. It's like a fashion world thriller
Sure.
thing. It's Mother Mary, and it's directed by, well, not Mary, the mother of Jesus. That's not really what I'm
Did you
looking
just
for.
look up the words Mother Mary?
I did. I
That's
did.
yeah, come on, man.
David Lowry. David Lowry
Oh,
is
okay,
directing
okay,
this.
sure.
Yeah, yeah. The Smashing Machine is made by the other Safdie brother. It's the
Whichever,
one about The Rock and
whichever
Emily
the other one
Blunt, and
is.
it's a sports biopic, and The Rock's going art house now. Isn't
Yeah.
everyone excited?
Yep.
And Warfare is the film that is co-directed by Alex Garland. This one's got a big old cast of white boys in it, and
Ah.
they're in the Iraq War, and it's
Yippee!
real. It's real war
Yeah,
combat. Get ready.
this is another one to look out for. This is
Mhm.
if we're doing the trio of movies here with Warfare, Animal Friends, and what was the other one I said was going to be a big hit?
What did you say? Oh, was it another comedy one, right?
No, there's Animal
Regretting
Friends.
You? Was it
No, I
that?
don't even remember what that is at this point.
That's the Colleen Hoover one.
I said something earlier, so you remember it, guys, and you keep
You
that in your
remember
mind.
it. Yeah.
And then Warfare is
Okay,
another one.
final slide. Here we go, Tucker. The marathon of a recording that we've done here. Amazon MGM Studios. We know them. We love them, don't we, folks? March 28th, A Working Man. Jason Statham, David Ayer teaming up once again. Human Traffickers Beware, which is
Yippee!
the actual, real tagline for this movie.
Yep.
Crazy. April 25th, The Accountant 2. We'll see. I think again,
If
I
you
have a
say
pet
so.
theory that if you say so, buddy, this movie apparently filmed, and
Yeah.
apparently everyone remembers this movie from 2016 called
No,
The
they fucking
Accountant
don't.
that I never saw. August 15th, Mercy. What is this? Hang on.
What is
usually,
this one?
Usually I'm the guy who knows these. 2025.
I forgot I
Are
can't
these
just click
speaking
off
to
to
you at
something
all?
else because I'm no, I don't. I don't remember what it is.
This is a sci-fi thriller starring Chris Pratt and Rebecca Ferguson.
What the fuck?
Hey, how about that?
What?
Directed by Timur Bekmambetov.
Oh, he did. But Chemikov, he did fucking Beast, didn't he?
No, that's a different guy. That's a different
Oh,
guy.
that's just a different
This
guy that has another crazy fucking name.
This guy is. Oh, did he do Searching? Is that who that is? No, that's Anish. He's like a producer on. What does this guy
Oh
make?
no, Baltasar Kormacher made that. Timur
Yeah.
Bekmambetov. I've heard the name. But obviously, I know how to pronounce it.
He had this. Oh no, it's not his first American film. He made 2016's Ben-Hur,
What the
but
fuck?
otherwise makes like European films.
Oh.
I think.
Where do I fucking recognize this guy from?
I don't know.
I know how to say
I
his
don't know,
name.
buddy.
Producer of Searching and Unfriended
Yeah.
Dark Web
Yeah.
and Hardcore Henry and Unfriended.
Mm-hmm.
What? Who is this
Um,
fucking guy? Why do I know his name? That's crazy.
TBD. Amazon MGM actually has two Guy Ritchie movies, In the Gray and Fountain of Youth.
We'll see what happens.
They're coming out. Apple Studios. Last one we'll talk about here. Anything on a high note, of course. They are, of course, the production studio behind F1, which is coming out this summer, but Warner Brothers is releasing that. And All of You is on here, and Mayday is on here. I don't know what those films are either, but I'm sure they're movies that will come out maybe in theaters or not. Well, so, okay, Apple TV is kind of in trouble in terms of their releases. If this doesn't indicate that to you.
Yep. And we like to end everything on a down note here at Backlog Banter.
Oh, is that
What?
what was it? What's the down note that we're
They
ending
were
on?
talking fucking Apple, and they're just kind of
Oh, I see. Oh, okay.
yeah, like
I thought you had a further down note that we were
oh,
ending on.
no, I'm just was kind of like recapping, like at
Oh,
the
okay.
end, like at the end of an essay where you're like, and in
Okay.
conclusion, and then you kind of
Hmm.
reiterate what you said before. This is
Yeah.
going to be an interesting year for movies because things seem to be coming really full force back. I wonder if there's going to be, like we saw in 2023, a lot of cannibalization of movies that are releasing on top of each other that don't get the space they need to be financial successes. We've seen this last holiday season be pretty good for movie going, and I hope that
Yes.
momentum carries through to things earlier in the year. But lots of things have asterisks here, and nothing's ever certain. And so
Some of these movies literally have asterisks next to them.
one of them, at least one does, yes. But thank you very much, everyone, for watching this look forward at the year of our Lord 2025 in film. And we'll be
Whew.
back next year for our 2026 look forward, and then also look forward to our look back at 2024,
Oh
where
my
we
God, this is so confusing,
where we
Tucker.
talk about how the movies that came out last year did overall. We're going to break it down studio by studio and go over our predictions from the beginning of 2024. It's going to be a whole
That's
fun
right.
thing.
And you get it. You understand. We're doing a 2024 recap. Thanks for
Yippee!
watching, everyone. We will see you next time.